Hello, welcome back to the channel. So, in this video, I want to talk about the current issue, like the latest gossip in Dislyte. So, a lot of you are just starting to realize like how strong a controller team is, and I wouldn't say that I've already told you so, but I've already told you so. Like 7 months ago, here's the screenshot. So I've already made a video about this thing, and why do I even bother making a video of a borderline legendary Pritzker the moment 3.1.7 hits? This is the reason, because the tank team can be controlled by a control team. That's the counter to them, and it has been going on since ever since I started playing the game, because you all have been so fixated in the meta, you never bother of thinking why the meta happens and what is their counter. And so here's some history lesson. So before 3.1.7, the reason why the speed clips dominate the whole PvP is because there is not enough help for you to survive getting hit by a DPS Esper within the first 2 turns of the battle. And that's the problem, and that's why the solution that Lilith gave out is the perfect one. Increasing the HP of every single Esper is the actual solution, the best one that you can have, because that makes the speed clip no longer dominate the PvP. But the thing is that you all whine when that happens. You're all complaining because the reason is because it's the same as cryptocurrency. You all already invested in your speed clip team, and when they no longer work, you all lose a lot. And that's why never follow the meta when it's already been going on for so long. That's why I also never want to follow the meta, because the meta will always keep constantly changing. Every day new combination of espers gonna come out that you never think about before. Like there are so many espers in the game, like how many combinations you can make among all those espers. There are so many things that can happen. That's why this game is so interesting for theory crafter. All of us who understand this thing likes to theory craft about different esper combinations and how to make them shine and how to make them better. It's always constantly changing every day. Every time there's a new esper, there's always bound to be a new combination in between those espers. And so the speed cliff team was so strong before 3.1.7 because at that point in time you are all competing between relics, not espers. It doesn't matter what espers you bring, as long as you have speed captain and you have 254 plus speed on your relic, you will win, because any DPS with a decent amount of relic will be able to kill you within the first or second turn of the battle, because you have 5 espers. If you win in terms of speed, you can bring 2 or 3 DPS, and 3 DPS will definitely able to kill the entire enemy team before the HP boost. And that's why in 3.1.7 the HP boost came out and everybody lose a lot, because everybody's been following the meta. They have been trying to build the meta and they lose everything. And so in the 3.1.7 everybody only think in black and white, because when they think about HP boost, it is now time to build a tank team. And that's not exactly wrong, but the thing is that it's not only the tank team that get boosted by the HP boost. every single Esper get boosted by HP boost. So Esper like guys that usually die in a single hit can somehow survive at least like with like 1 HP if you get hit by a tank Esper. Whereas before 3.1.7, like one run C attack will be able to kill Gaius. So in 3.1.7, after 3.1.7, the tank team started to rise. Like everybody saw that, oh, this team actually works, and everybody just keep following the meta. But that's why I made that video about Pritzker. You only need a single controller to be able to counter the tank team, and it's always been like that ever since the start. It's a rock paper scissors situation. Speed clip beats control team beats tank team, and tank team beats speed clip, and it's always been like that. But the thing is that here's the thing: in order for you to be able to build a control team, you need to be able to also be in the speed team. And that's the problem with the control team. It's not so easy to make, because in order to pull it off, you also need a very fast speed rally. Because a control team is not 100% surefire control. There is always a chance the enemy can resist your control, and that's why in order to be able to control the entire enemy team, people usually bring Lucas, Pritzker, Sienna, Era, Celine, all those controllers in a single team, because they need to cover each other's assets. When someone makes a mistake, somebody else can cover it. And if you have enough speed, you will move several times before the enemy can move. So that's the reason why the control team is a minority, and that's why I'm telling you, don't bother countering a control team. Because here's the thing, in your life playing the PvP, you will meet like 60% up to 70% of the time the tank team, because not many players are as lucky as those players who got like very fast speed rally. So their only solution is to use their height, Everett, and Abigail to make a tank team, and that's why they are everywhere. And then after that, 20% to 30% of the time, you're gonna meet the speed cliff team. And in terms of speed cliff team, you are not competing against the Espers. You are competing against each other's relics. So if you win in terms of relics, you're gonna win. And that's why the 3.1.7 HP boost is really good in here, because at least now, as a tank team, you stand a chance to win against the speed cliff team. And so here it comes, the control team. It started rising because people, in this RTA, they started to realize that, oh, having speed is not enough for me to be able to kill the tank team. I need to stun them. And then if you stun them, like, you just go overboard and just keep stunning them, and that's how the control team was born. Like, people started to realize that even though it's been around like since 7 months ago, when I already explained how Lucas worked. So it's been there, and now people started to realize that. But the thing is that they sacrifice attack in order to do that. So it's not always like black and white about this thing, and that's the mistake that everybody's been making. Because here is some example. Like, if you are trying to build a speed team, you usually go with someone that is very fast. Like, you usually go with TS captain, and then you bring Dahlia. Where's my Dahlia? You bring Dahlia, and then after that you bring somebody else that has speed, like probably this thing and this thing, and then you probably just go with Pritzker, and this is the control team, you know. And this is Usually when you go with the speed team, you go with Gaius, you go with Clara, or maybe you go with something else, like maybe Sander. Like this is what you all think about a speed team. But this is why people never realize the potential of espers. Because something like this, like Sally, that you usually think is only gonna be there in a tank team, is actually the best one in a speed team situation like this. Because look at this, her skill, her sweet harvest take effect whenever her allies move. So if she is the slowest in the team and her allies keep on moving every single time, they will keep getting the benefit of the sweet harvest of her, even though it only lasts for 2 turns. So that's why this kind of combination is something that people forget, And there is also something like this, like I can bring, let's just bring the Dahlia. Let's bring the Dahlia. And then after that, I can also bring something like this. This is also something that can work, Like this is the defense team, But with a tweak that this is within a speed team. So what do you think about this team? It's a very fast team because it has a speed captain and a Dahlia to keep AP push, and also there's a Clara. But the thing is that Clara have a resonance that gives defense whenever her allies have a shield, and then Gabrielle with her immunity, permanent immunity and defense up, and Donar get all the benefits from the defense up from Clara's shield, and then Gabriel defense up immunity, and also the speed from Tia and Dahlia, whereas usually Donar doesn't move at all. So this is also like a combination. You don't always necessarily need to be like in a speed cliff, everything is all about speed. In a tank team, everything is all about team. You can mix and match, and everybody just forgets about that because everybody has just been going on and on about the meta. So there are a lot of combination of espers that you can choose. It all just got limited by your creativity and your brain. So yeah, if you ask about me, like how am I, if I ever gonna counter a control team, I won't bother countering something that only 10% of the player base use. So I will only counter because I know people are starting to build a tank team. I've chosen to take Intisar, and that's why Lilith already gave you all the solution to the tank team. They already gave 2 solutions. They have Intisar and Chang-Chi exactly for against tank teams, but nobody ever bothered to pull them, and that's why they all resort to control team. In order to beat the tank team, they resort to control team, because the only esper that are able to break, like brute force the defense team, is only these 2. Because their damage doesn't care about how much HP you have, how much defense you have. Their damage is a fixed amount. And so in this hour, I've already showcased you how strong she is. And Chang-Chi, oh boy, he is OP. I'm gonna tell you that. Because some of the top tier Point War players already realized this, and they are hiding their Chang-Chi. He is OP. The moment the banner is gone, they will release their Chang-Chi, and it's already gonna be too late for you to build your Chang-Chi, because he is OP. This thing, the damage scales with the enemy's maximum HP is a literal sense. I've already tested this, and so he will deal insane amount of damage if his targets have a very high health. So yeah, that is Chang-Chi. And so that's the thing. So everybody is resorting to a control team. So I will say that if I ever want to counter a control team, let's just say I want to control the counter the control team, then there are several experts that are in my mind that I will choose. The first one definitely Jin Yao. Jin Yao is a must. Like she is unable to be controlled at all except by AP down, and that's why Lucas is there in the control team, is to counter the Jin Yao. And so another thing that I've already made a video about Tricky, like Tricky is definitely a counter against Jin Yao and Sally. So if you ever see a Tricky, ban him, definitely ban him. And then another one is Sally, definitely, because Sally with the Sweet Harvest, she is able to remove debuffs every time her allies moves. And at the start of the allies turn, that means that if they only have a stun in their debuffs, then they will move. But the thing is that you need your Sally to move first in order to put this Sweet Harvest. And so not many players are able to have Resonance 6 Sally, which gives Sweet Harvest at the start of the turn. So she is like a rare choice here. And the next one is Heng Ye. Heng Ye is also another option because her passive will still work even though she got stunned. So even if she got stunned, she will still be able to heal her allies while removing one debuff from them. So it's gonna make it harder for the enemy's control team in order to control you, because every turn she will remove one debuff. At least one Esper in your lineup will not get stunned, and so the enemy will need to reapply that stun, which is bound to get resisted. And also, if she is able to use her third skill, that's it. That's the end of the line. So yeah, but you need to give a high resist on Heng Ye and just praise that she not get control. But the thing is that the best value of a control team is Pritzker, and that's why I mentioned that I made a video about him, that he is borderline legendary because he is the strongest controller, because he is able to increase the enemy's cooldown. Because even if the enemy is able to move, like he make a mistake and fail to stun the enemy, they won't be able to do anything because their skills are on cooldown. And that's why your DPS must be someone that doesn't care about cooldown, someone like Jianghan. You don't necessarily need to use her third skill in order for her to deal damage. If she is able to move, she is able to use her first skill, put debuffs on the enemy. If that enemy that have Nether Bloom is attacking her, she has a chance to counterattack against them, and then keep on putting more Nether Bloom to the enemy. And once all 5 of them have Nether Bloom, she will be able to keep on countering every time the enemy attacks you. And so some other Espers that can move outside of their turn are also like Falcon, but Falcon need to put her Eye of Horus first before he is able to counterattack, so he needs to at least move once. So not really a good choice here. And also Barton will be able to move, but the thing is that he needs his allies to be at half health. Also, it's very easy to counter Barton. You just need to stun him and he won't be able to do anything. So yeah, Jiangman, best candidate in this case. And also some other Esper that goes very underrated is this one, Bailu. Bailu have a passive that removes debuffs from herself every time she moves. So it's gonna make a control team really hard to control her. But the thing is that nobody ever bothered to build her. That's why nobody ever realized her potential. So if you have a level 60 Bailu, you guys can try using her and just hope that she doesn't get permanently controlled, because if she have any other debuffs like defense down or speed down, she needs more turn in order to remove her stuns. But the thing is that if the enemy have full controller, usually they only have speed down and stun, and not many other debuffs that they put on you. Some other Espers that I would put a notification on is someone like Layla. Layla can transfer one debuff from each ally to the target, but she needs to use her second skill. So not a great choice, but I do just want to point that out to every one of you. So definitely don't build your Layla, because she is very situational. Although her damage is very huge, but her utility is overshadowed by every other Espers. Some other Espers, there is David, but the thing is that David dispels one debuff from himself if he can move, so he cannot dispel a stun. So he is not a very strong candidate, but I just want to point out that I just want to point out all the Espers that are able to remove the buffs, and those are all of your candidates. And also, all of you have Everett, except me. I have level 1 Everett, because Everett will counter attack a lot. But the thing is that none of you build Everett with speed and resist. All of you just goes on full HP and critical damage, and that's why I always say that it's very easy for me to counter Everett, because the only thing I need to do is to just stun him and ignore him the whole duration of the battle. And that's why if you ever want to think about countering a control team, do think about giving more speed and resist to your Everett. Because no matter how high your damage is, if your Everett cannot move, he deals 0 damage. So if he is able to if you are able to reduce his damage by half of it, at least he is able to deal half of your damage to your enemy, because he is now able to move with enough speed and enough resist. So there's another option, and that's why I won't bother building Everett, because he only ever useful in PvP, but he is very easy to counter in PvP because all of you build him like that. And so I never gonna build an Esper that only shine in one content, and very easy to counter at that. And another Esper that I want to mention here is Jacob. If he is able to move at least once and able to put his second skill, Fangs is the very strong buffs to have. Because once you put this Fang, as long as the enemy doesn't dispel these Fangs, they will die. Because Lucas, Pritzker, all of them do multi-hit, and this thing, all 5 of your Espers have this Fangs buff. And so if they hit using AoE damage, they will have a chance to get 5 poisons. And because they do multi-hits, they have a chance to get a lot of poisons from here. But then again, all of these Espers have a requirement to need to be able to move. So if you lose speed at the start of the turn, and not able to move at all, then yeah, your only candidate is all these healers together with Jiangman and probably Bai Lili. Yeah, so that's my take about countering a control team. But then again, I won't bother countering a minority, because if I want to focus on PvP, I want to counter the 60% or 70% of player base, which is what makes me win, able to reach this master in RTA and get the Pritzker skin here. Because I only ever gonna bother of countering the tank team. And if I'm able to keep on constantly win against the tank team using my counters, then I already win 60% or 70% of my battles. And that will guarantee me to be able to keep climbing the rank slowly but steadily, And so that's my take about control team. So here we're gonna talk about the future of the game. So what I've been waiting in a new Esper is that Esper that are able to punish something that other Espers are trying to do. So now those punishers, we have Tricky, we have Donar. So Donar are able to punish players who are attacking him but unable to finish him off. So he is able to punish players that way. And then Tricky is punishing players who try to cleanse their debuffs. And that's a very, very strong thing to have. And then afterwards, we also have Ashley. Ashley is able to punish players who gives critical rate to their support. So those who moves faster than Ashley, she is able to catch up to them if they do a critical hit. So she is able to punish a speed cliff team if she is put inside a tank team. That's another variation there. So Ashley is not always gonna be in a speed cliff team, because she also works wonder in a tank team. Those tank teams who doesn't have a single speed, like a very, very slow speed, if you have Ashley, you all can move, you know. So that's the thing. And then we have Changchi and Intisar, like they can both punish players who are stacking HP all the way, and they are really, really strong. So the only thing that I'm waiting right now is someone who is able to punish enemy from messing around with my buffs. So we already have Tricky here who is messing around with debuffs. And so I want the opposite of Tricky. That's what I'm waiting for. A support that is able to do something to the enemy team if they reduce the duration of my buffs, which is basically usually a dispel. So if they dispel my buffs, I will do something to them. Like if Lilith come out with that kind of Esper, definitely pull that Esper. Because looking at the history here, the moment Abigail came out, she gives so much debuffs that all the subsequent Esper coming out after her all are able to dispel. They came out with Elliot, they came out with Talon, they came out with Feng Nuxi. They all are able to dispel, because now dispel is a very, very must-have thing to have in your lineup, because buffs are really getting too strong. So I'm waiting for the time when we can punish other players from dispelling my buffs, and that's what I hope from Ethan. That's what I'm hoping from Ethan, like something unique to a support Esper, because we already have every single kind of support, like with every single kind of buffs currently in game. So the next thing that I'm hoping for is him having a very unique buff himself. So yeah, that's the future. And then the gameplay, look forward to the Shade Mother, because Shade Mother is still coming soon here, but the moment Shade Mother come out, it's gonna be game changing, because this is what gonna differentiate between a very high-end players with a casual players. Because the booster that you can get from Shade Mother is a lot. Like one booster is 12%. So if you have 6 relics, that is already 72% difference. Oh my god. So yeah, this is gonna be your bread and butter. Like this is gonna be your strongest asset when it comes out. So the moment it comes out, do focus on this one. Make a team specializing in clearing Shade Mother, whether it's gonna come out as co-op, whether it's gonna come out as single player. Do focus on finishing the Shade Mother as efficiently as possible, because this is gonna be a very important grind, because now you do want to make your Espers much stronger in this Shade Mother. So that's why I mentioned in my other videos that I prefer 5 Espers at Resonance 6 rather than having 20 Espers at Resonance 2, because of this. Because the moment this thing comes out, there is no way for you to be able to build like all of your Espers into getting the booster from Shade Mother. You will definitely gonna need to focus on which Espers are the most important for you first, and that will be the first thing you need to do in here. And that's why focus on those 5 or at least 10 experts that you use every single day. And if this comes out as a co-op, as really a co-op, then start to find friends from now on. Friends that you are able to like have fun, playing games, chat together. Because at the end of the time, this is a game. So do have fun, enjoy the game, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.